Chairs really do not slide well.
Yes. Be comment on it.
You have to give me a second, Sandy, to get the streaming going. What's that here? And then before you open, you'll just report out. Thank you for reminding me, because oftentimes I do forget. Yes, so thank you. Before we close our closed session, we want to report that there is nothing to report out of our closed session this evening, and no instructions were given to staff or to council. And we're going to adjourn now to our regular session. So it is after 7 o'clock, it's 7:03, and we're going to call to order the meeting of the Pleasant Hill Recreation Park District Board of Directors for the 10th of August. Gosh, it's August already, 2023. Let me go to call to order, roll call. Let the record show that all directors are present, and next is our Pledge of Allegiance. Bobby, would you lead us in the pledge this evening?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, item number 3 is public comment. This is the portion of our meeting where the members of the public can address the board on any items not on our agenda this evening. Are there any members of the public in the audience who would like to address us?
Yes, I would.
Okay, do we have a card for you, sir?
No, I just showed up. Anyway, my name is Steve Miller. I'm a lifelong resident of Pleasant Hill. I learned to swim right out here. PHBA. Had my own softball team here for 30 years. My wife played, met my wife at drop-in volleyball at the old Pleasant Hill High School. So I've been around everything around here for a very, very long time. I'm here to complain about lack of pickleball courts. Do any of you play?
Yes.
Well, then you know it's very popular. It's gaining all the time. Martinez has courts. Concord has a 14-court facility, which is excellent. That's where I play. And probably 30 or 40% of the people I play with are Pleasant Hill residents. Walnut Creek has it. Lafayette has it. We do not. Okay. I see a lot across from the library. We do not need any more soccer fields. Okay. We have plenty. And plus, I'm sick and tired of soccer moms in their SUVs blowing the light at Pleasant Hill Road in Oak Park because their little angels are late to a game. I mean, that's a police matter, but nobody stops at that stop sign anymore. You can go up there right now and people just blow through it like it's nothing. Anyway, I know the future plans are the Winslow Center. You're going to have 2-3 courts, maybe. Let's be honest. That's at least 5 years away if we're lucky. Construction is my background. It's going to take that long, if not 10 years before stuff is built there. So waiting 5 to 10 years is not acceptable. I play 3 to 5 times a week, 2 hours a piece, and the courts are getting crowded. There's lessons, there's people reserving spots. It's starting to become a hassle to play. That's why I play at Concord, because they have 14 courts. The other cities have less. And it's much more difficult. You got to wait in line, you got to stop, you got to rotate in. And yeah, the majority of the people I play with are 65 and older. We have people that are in 80s that still play, and they play pretty good. Okay. But everybody plays. School's out, well, school's back in, but teenagers play, middle-aged people play. There's a lot of young 20-somethings that are red hots that we can't even begin to compete with. But it's time. It's time. I don't know what your grand scheme is. I looked at the overall plan. I downloaded it and I looked at all the stuff you have planned. But things are changing. Pickleball is the new wave. You're the only city that doesn't have anything, and it's time to get on board. Okay. The old schoolhouse, I found it interesting here. You said repurpose old facilities. I hope you truly plan to tear that piece of crap down. It's imploding. The basement there's nothing there to save. I know there's people that, want to save everything that's old, but it needs to go so you can properly develop that site, move the buildings, get the parking. A gym or a theater would be nice, but if I had my way, that'd be a great place to put pickleball courts, okay? The Winslow Center, I hope you don't try to repurpose that because that thing has got the worst layout of any building I have ever seen. It needs to be dozed so you can develop that site properly. That's all I have to say, and I hope you seriously consider getting some pickleball courts because you don't even have a tennis court in this city. You can take a tennis court, you can chop it, make 2 pickleball courts, okay? So please consider this, and whatever you're planning for across the library, put some pickleball courts in because there's a big need. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out this evening and sharing your thoughts with us.
Do I need to fill this out still?
We would like you to do that, yes, but even more, we would like you to fill out the evaluation that you're holding in your left hand.
I already have.
Oh, good. Okay, because that's where we are soliciting input from members of the
My
public.
mother, who's 90, who's filled it out, and we have a lot of family and relatives here in Pleasant Hill and a friend-based thing, and yes, you will see the word pickleball a lot.
Right. Thank you so much for coming out this evening.
Email address or something.
What?
Or an email address or something.
Oh, I have Mr. Miller's email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have communicated.
We've communicated before. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And
And
I believe it's that lack of things I see and lack of pickleball court.
he's on my list of people who are interested in.
We want to hear, we want to
Thank you
hear
for your
from
time.
people.
Thank
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any emails, Susie?
No, I have not received any email.
Any raised hands, Michelle?
No.
Okay, then we will close public comment. And I will move to item number 4, reports and presentations. 4.1 is a report from the general manager. Michelle?
Great. So I've got a couple of highlights. So I included the written report, so I'll take questions on that, but I have a couple of things. I know that the chair has talked to me, but I know many of you might have heard we have a pretty significant yellow jacket problem at Roger Smith Park. And so staff has been diligently working to attempt to find the yellow jacket nests, whether they're in the park or on private property. We found one nest. It has been killed. And so, but we're still getting reports that there's still a lot of yellow jackets. So staff is still attempting to find those. So I just want you to know we put up traps. But there seems to be an extraordinary amount out there. So we're working. So yeah, and so
vector control.
Yeah, and so we're yes. So Tom is working with
Andrew Pierce.
He's going to call Andrew Pierce. Yeah. So anyway, so Tom's working on that. And so yeah. So just so you all know, we are working on it. There's it's not necessarily easy to find, but it does have a call into vector control. So and then. Speaking, Mr. Miller left, but I just wanted to give a brief update. We have to date received about 550 surveys that have been inputs, and which was a huge uptick after that were input electronically. Huge uptick after we sent out the mailer. We did some follow-up phone calls this week. And so, and then as volunteers and staff were making phone calls, people were filling them out on, over the phone with them. And so, but it was great. But just to kind of give you an idea, this is the amount that we received via mail. So that haven't been input yet. So I was shocked at how many have actually come in by mail. But we have a lot of them.
To put a stamp on
and so because you have to put a stamp on it. So these have been input, these still haven't, but I have volunteers helping me with that next week. But I will report. So you will get a full reporting of what this is, hopefully either at your next meeting or the first meeting in September. Pickleball is highly requested. Just to kind of give you a preview, there's a lot of requests for pickleball. There's a lot of requests for spray parks within parks, and so and a lot of requests for the pool, to update the pool. So but yeah, so I think we'll get some good information and a lot of good ideas on others. There's also been a lot of people who have thanked the district for all of their all the things they do. So so I think once we kind of gather all that information, so I have a meeting with Larry next week on next steps. So then I will I'll let you know what our plan is on when we're going to report out. And so yeah, so that was where that is.
We have till the end of August.
End of August is what we end of August is what we were planning on, but we'll probably keep it open anyways, just to kind of see if people trickle in as well. So, you know, because I mean, this is really just for us to gather information, to provide information. And so now with all of these people who have, you know, and everyone has, most people have willingly given us their name and their email address so that way we can contact them as we evolve our plans, right, and try to get more more specific. So like, you know, I mean, like Mr. Miller, you know, I told him the master plan was conceptual in nature. You know, things have changed. Pickleball wasn't as big when we did that, and so, you know, so obviously all of those actual plans will be refined and things will change. Although I have told Mr. Miller, and you may share this with people who ask, is we cannot put pickleball at that park, in the new park at Oak Park, because it's a detention basin for floods. So it's a flood basin, and pickleball does not play well in a bowl. So you know, it definitely, I mean, it's not significant, but it needs to be flat. So, you know, but we do have other opportunities within the district of unimproved areas that we could, you know, add something like that. So so that, and then the other, I did get a comment from the chair as far as potentially considering moving our board meetings to a little bigger room with the uptick in COVID. So I'm watching that, and I'm looking to see if we can potentially move to a little larger room, at least maybe through the end of September. But you know, Lance is going to get us our new table here in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, so that is just to let you know. So if you have any concerns about that, or you would you are in favor of me moving quickly on that, just please let me know. We can talk offline, but I just wanted to let you know that it is being considered. So
thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you for sharing that, because I in part is for staff, members of the public, but also for us, since we're sitting fairly close to each other here in a room without a lot of ventilation. So I am concerned for all of us, and I want to make sure that we're being as careful with each other as we can possibly do. Any questions for Michelle? Comments?
Yes. Do you have any extra cards?
I have lots of them. Yes, I will get you
take some more.
I'll take you some more. Great.
Good.
And if you get them filled out, people fill them out, just drop them off at any of our buildings.
Yeah,
yeah, I have a whole bunch, so don't leave without them.
Thanks. Any other questions, comments? Okay, we'll move on to 4.2, presentation of the building maintenance management plan, the MMP. Lance, come on up. Michelle?
Yes, so I am going to turn this over to Lance. For those of you who may not know, Lance is my building maintenance and facility management superintendent. He has the longest title in the district, but he does do both sides of the house and the buildings, both building maintenance and facility management. He's the superintendent for that. And I'm going to ask Lance to present this. Lance has done a fine job of putting all this information together, so I don't want to steal his thunder. So go ahead, Lance.
The exciting stuff here, right? Maintenance management plan. So my staff report, you guys kind of got the purpose behind what the management plan is for, but really for staff, it's a tool. We use it for planning, budgeting, and basically for ensuring that these activities are being completed in a timely fashion. I just want to reassure the board too, all this stuff was getting done prior to me doing this report. Mm-hmm. It all was, now it's just down on paper. So one of the things that I'm trying to, you know, transition building maintenance is that we get stuff, you know, standard operating procedures down on paper. So if I'm here, the next person comes in, they can pick up and continue the good work. So we can dive into this a little bit. I know with the Land and Facilities Committee, we picked a building and kind of worked through that. Is that how you guys want to operate with this?
Yeah.
Or
let's go ahead and do that. Just walk them through one, you know, one of each, one building. Just
okay, sounds good. Let's do the community center then. And so I'll give you a brief description of what this is. A lot of it's kind of self-explanatory here, carpet extraction. So if you go the next line over, the unit of measure, inventory is one. So one time we do the extraction, right? 5 hours total for that. And then you have the months of the year, how many times we do it per month. Okay, and that totals 19. And then that 95 hours is the total amount of time it takes staff to complete that. And then the cost associated with that, about $2,500. Okay. That number comes from custodial staff, about the average of the custodial staff, with 10% tacked on top of that for benefits, that type of thing. So you have two different rates, that being the custodial one. Then you have the next line item here for painting of the interior, an hour per room, basically. We got 10 rooms, that kind of thing. We try to do that sporadically throughout the year, 2 or 3 times. Just spot painting, touch up paint, that type of stuff, any kind of repairs to the walls. So you have the frequency there of 3, takes 3 hours, roughly $111. That figure is based on the average for a building maintenance worker with 30% tacked on for their fully loaded benefits and that kind of thing. So next, the grease trap. We do that, try to do it quarterly. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, window washing, room setup. You can see it takes up a ton of time for the custodial staff. We're flipping rooms all the time, multiple times throughout the day. Room setup, like I said, vacuuming, wax and strip floors, clean refrigerator coils. I don't need to read all these to you guys, but you kind of get an idea of the amount of time it takes, how often we're doing it throughout the year, and what's the total cost. That's kind of what this is all about. It gives you, an overview of what that cost is. So if we go to the next page, that's our PM schedule. And these are just, things that, again, we're getting done. They're just down on paper now. So
and
again,
PM stands for
preventative maintenance. Yeah, so you can go back throughout the year. I want to make sure, in January, we're planning ahead. We're scheduling this stuff out. That's really what I use this tool for, so that we know, the health permit has to be renewed every January. So it's on here. It'll get done. You got the 1 time a year sewer fees with the costs associated to that, and tax that come out quarterly. The health permit, like I said, the extinguishers have to get done every year, once a year. The fire line, which is the sprinkler system in the building, that gets done once a year. We have actually subbed out the window cleaning. I'm trying to do that more often throughout the year, just because these guys can get into areas our staff can't. They can access stuff, and they do a really good job. ICOM is our HVAC contract that we have. They come out quarterly, usually doing filters, checking on the system, making sure everything's operating the way it should. The ice maker, they come out twice a year, and then the trash is an ongoing thing every month. We get 2 tips every week at the community center. So, and you kind of see the overall cost of things. General idea, because a lot of this stuff is guesstimates. Some of them are hard costs, like the garbage is a hard cost, but some of these things, they fluctuate from time to time. Costs have gone up, obviously. So I would say within the next year or 2, this will be updated. Things are just getting more expensive overall. So, so we have the daily, monthly, weekly activities on this. Got the PM schedule. None of this, I shouldn't say none of this, a lot of this isn't possible unless we have a healthy CIP. Stuff breaks down, we need to replace things, carpets, that type of stuff. The district has done a good job of setting money aside to be able to refurbish a lot of this stuff. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the CIP. When things do break down, we have that money set aside that we can replace stuff. And that's with, keeping an idea, at least a view on the reserve study that we did some years ago. I check on that at least once or twice every year just to see where we're at. We haven't had any major, structural roofing, anything like that that's needed at this time, but we're getting close. Most of the buildings are over 10 years old. So we're getting at that point, especially like carpets and that kind of thing. They're just beat up. We're getting twice the use that we thought we were going to get. So things are just breaking down that much quicker.
Especially in the teen center.
Yeah, teen center, they're rough. Kids are rough.
We did that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll take any questions you guys have on this.
Just to kind of, just before we take questions, the purpose of this is there's no approval tonight. It's just to provide the board with an update and just a glimpse into how staff manages the maintenance of the buildings on the district's behalf, right? I want to make sure that the board has a comfort level in that things are being maintained, that we're taking good care of our assets and how we develop the budgets. And so we use past practice, but also, a pretty robust plan. And I do appreciate Lance getting things down on paper, because when he took over, when he and Ryan kind of took over that department, there really wasn't anything on paper. So putting it all on paper is a high priority, and so Lance is doing that. So but I just wanted to just make sure that this is a report presentation, ask Lance questions, provide input. It's a document that evolves all the time. It's not set in stone.
Sandy.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was interesting going through it and taking a look at it. Are you using, is this a specific software scheduling program? Is it Excel?
Excel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got it, so you can on a weekly basis or monthly basis, however you're doing it, you're updating that. So you've got just tab after tab.
Checking boxes.
Yeah.
This got done. This got
Great,
done.
great,
Yeah,
okay.
keep track of stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's usually a monthly basis. We
Great.
do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think Derek had asked me on a per square foot. You the one that asked me about that, what the cost was?
It came down to that at one time. I was curious.
Yeah, so I did some rough numbers. Community center was like $4 a foot. Senior center, $3.33. I mean, those are just really.
Wonder what the senior center is.
Total cost of these activities.
Yeah.
So,
Per year.
per year.
Yeah, per year.
Per year, but that doesn't include the staff. That doesn't include custodial or any of that. It doesn't include all of their time. It includes these specific tasks, right?
Correct.
So yeah,
Right.
doesn't include them being in the building and taking trash out for
Right.
Yeah,
For
for
normal
events,
type
yeah.
of things. Yeah. I had one other question too about, the makeup of the individuals doing some of the tasks. I know you've gone through and kind of indicated what the labor cost was, but, some tasks require more skilled and professionals to do than others. So do you kind of take that in consideration when you're looking at some activities might require, certain skill professionals versus others to
Definitely. So
I heard you say like average or something, but
yeah. So at least at the community center, I have hired a contractor to do a lot of the interior painting, just because staff, it's not their strength.
Mhm.
It's just easier to have them come in all at once, knock out as many walls, as many rooms as they can do at once. So that would be part of the CIP.
Mhm.
We try to put some money every year so we can do those types of things in conjunction with the touch-up paint that staff can do. So yeah,
But we do contract some of those things. We have a combination. I mean, we have 2 building maintenance staff members, and then our custodial staff, and then we supplement with contract.
Yeah. And that was the other thing, like any special equipment that might be needed for certain things, like when you're doing the holiday lights. I don't know if you have like the boom lift.
We do.
We do.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah, throughout the years, we purchase stuff that we need in order to carry out the job. So things that we can't do, that the guys aren't skilled in, we just sub it out.
Yeah.
And that's getting harder and harder to find somebody to come out and do small jobs, but yeah, we still do that.
Okay. Others.
Yeah, just one. First off, thank you. I like reading things in spreadsheets. So that's good. That's good. Thank you so much for doing that. Just wondering, do you feel like you have enough resources to do all these types of things, or do you feel like you have to stretch a little bit? Or
No, I mean, we do. We have enough resources. We just picked up another building maintenance worker this last year, so that's helped free up our main guy who's been here forever to do some of the larger tasks, a little more skill-based tasks. So I think staffing wise, we're in good shape right now.
yeah, thank you.
Well, I've had concerns about our facility maintenance that the last several years, not currently, not recently, but for a while, because it struck me as things were beginning to look a little shabby in places, and so this I think is just a tremendously professional approach to not only quantifying what you need, but also identifying what you need. And to me, it's very important to understand the difference between this and the custodial staff.
Yeah.
Because this is taking care of the facility. This is not, setting up the AV and moving the chairs and things like that. And I assume that those folks do come around and vacuum after an event.
Yeah.
Is that the maintenance staff or the custodial?
No, that's
staff?
custodial staff.
Custodial
Yeah,
staff.
that's included in here.
Okay.
Yeah, the room flips and all that stuff.
I think it's also a tremendous budgeting tool for you to use and for us to have confidence in when we question whether you are trying to save us money by not revealing certain needs that you perceive need to happen, but you don't want to be the guy who says, I need another $40,000 in my operating budget to be able to take care of this. this gives us the ability to see that you are spotting all the things that need to happen to keep the buildings up to speed. Because as Bobby knows, we promised the public we were going to take far better care of our buildings than prior boards had taken care of their buildings, you know, the buildings that we had to tear down because they prematurely died. And so as we went back to the public, I think it's really important for us to be able to show that we have professional tools and very skilled and experienced staff that are on top of, you know, keeping these buildings in the beautiful condition that they were originally intended to be. So I just really, really love this. The same question that I had in land and facilities is whether these numbers are high enough and whether the frequency is enough. And so I would encourage you to consider not just your experience, but also whether as the buildings get a little older, this is something that happens with enough frequency to be able to take care of them. I know you've got a 15% contingency built into that, but even so, touch-up painting 3 times a year may not be enough. That kind of thing. So I love the fact that this is a living document and that you're continuing to update it, and that you will. I hope if you do update it, that you will do in a red line so that we can see what you've added, and that you will be able to tell us, in real time how things are evolving a bit. You mentioned that this supplements the CIP, and so I think that it's important as we look at our CIP coming up that we think about this document in terms of what it's intended to take care of and what other things the CIP is supposed to infill, and that we get lots of input from you about, long-term needs like roofs, like carpets, like floor, tile, all those, things that we have there. So that I guess the goal is really to work collaboratively to get you the funds you need in order to take care of the building.
Trying to stay out front of that stuff. So the buildings are showing some wear.
Right.
So we're trying to get out in front of that.
Let's see. You said there was a 10% add-on. Are benefits only a 10% add-on?
It's about 10. Yeah. No, it's about 10% total. Yeah.
Right.
So for the part-time staff, it's about 10%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all part-time.
These are all part-time staff. Yeah.
Part-time staff. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about 10%.
And also, I think it's important for us to know that the contract prices are in addition to these number of hours that we have hired people to do, and that's embedded in other numbers that you're giving to us in the budget process, right? Yeah,
in the budget process or in the preventative maintenance, a lot of that is contracted out, and so it lives in both places. So
Well, on behalf of Land and Facilities, and I think on the entire board, we're just really praising what you've accomplished here and the approach that you're taking. It's very professional and very supportive of our goals and what we'd like to achieve for the district. So thank you, Lance, very much. Any other comments from anybody else?
Well, and Lance got that done before he even reached 1 year.
Well, to your point, Steve, I've been here a long time, so I remember the old buildings. So I
know
the high standard for what we were given. I appreciate what we were given.
And we intentionally, designed, quality into these buildings that was not something that we ever did before. So it's, I appreciate that you're sensitive to that and to making sure that they're kept up.
All right.
Yes. Thank you, Lance. Thank you very much, Lance. All right. Next item is, are there any public comment on any of these items?
No public comment on either of the reports.
Okay, we'll close public comment on that. Our consent section is consent calendar. It's to approve bills to be paid, the warrants and the minutes of July 13th, 2023. Does anybody have any questions or comments on either of those items? I had one question about the minutes. It attached.
It always so that one of the oddities of this particular program is that when you do the minutes from the program, it attaches the entire packet from the last time, because that is the record, and so it's the minutes plus the packet, and so it is a little. And I haven't had time to go talk to them about and maybe. At least in our packet, like I may be able to, I haven't figured out how to get that to not do that or to do it separately. And so anyways, Noted.
Noted,
So,
okay,
and it's
all right.
super confusing, and I understand that.
Well, it's
so,
not like
yeah.
confusing, it's legally dangerous. Minutes are supposed to be a summary of what occurred during the meeting. By attaching all that stuff, it makes it evidence, it's prima facie evidence of the truth of everything. And it's just wrong to attach those facts.
I will speak with OSA, and then we'll find out. I mean, all of those packets are published, so they're already.
Of course, no, they are available, but by attaching them to minutes, it gives them an elevated truth, evidentiary type of thing that we shouldn't want to do.
I will talk to OSA.
Okay,
Great.
All right. All right. Do we want to take each of these separately, Michelle?
No, we can take them.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. If the consent calendar has been moved, any second? Thank you, Bobby. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar items 5.1, the warrants, 5.2, the minutes of July 13th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0, Susie. Okay. And next we have verbal reports from committees. I know Atlanta Facilities was.
It was canceled. It was supposed to meet, but yeah, it was postponed because we didn't get. OSA was gone, I was gone, and we didn't get the information for the ADA plan together enough. But I will reschedule that. We do have a personnel committee coming up on August 22nd. So next week, personnel committee, you'll be receiving your packet as early as I can get it to you. And then program or budget and finance is the 24th. The CIP budget will be on that agenda. And then the program committee is meeting next week, and you will be at least primarily talking right now about increasing rental rates and the Blues and Brews wrap up and recommendations. So first, so that's what you will get your packet tomorrow.
A day of reckoning is coming.
Yeah. Yes, skating.
Yeah, this program committee then also talk about the terminology, but the what we had talked about during our budgeting, the
you and I can talk about that. And now, why don't you think about it and then circle back with me, and we'll decide what
the use the basically the costs for usage of the facility.
Yeah, the rental fees. That's what we're that's
rental fees, but
So that is on your next agenda. Okay. Recommendation from staff on increasing those.
Yeah, I know we had that discussion earlier, so I just wanted.
Okay. Yeah. Any news on the policy front? I know you've been extremely busy.
No, I've been extremely busy. OSA and I talked about that. We're bringing it back. So hopefully do that.
While Sandy and I are still alive
yes,
on the board.
I know we're getting there. So yeah, we are. Okay, we'll do that, but it's been super busy. So yeah.
Board chairs, anyone who want to make any comments or observations, anything at this particular time? Okay, seeing none, we will. I assume we have no public comment on that. And board announcements. Bobby.
Yeah, I had the opportunity along with you to attend the meeting with the bocce court. What's his name? Bocce Bill?
Bocce Phil.
Bocce Phil.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. There was a large contingency of the senior league that plays out there. And so I don't know, will we be getting a report kind of back on that, or is it?
I mean, we'll monitor it, and we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue is that they're brand new and they need to get some use. And so yeah.
Well, that's just so everybody knows. I mean, I received an email, and I know Sandy and I received one about the slowness of the new materials on there. And I thought he did a fantastic job explaining, like how this is going to take time to settle, and then also came up with some solutions similar, just so everybody knows, like a golf course has different tee boxes for different levels,
and we did include that. Yeah, we did.
So I thought that was a fantastic solution, because there was a concern that people were
throwing their arms out,
having to throw the ball
a little harder
than usual, and so
and bocce is that it changes court to court, but yeah.
And I've been doing this a while, and it's like the amount of emails that we get on various things, but it just furthered the concern amongst the bocce community for the court. So I tried to reassure them that while it may be a challenge right now, come the rainy season, it's going to be a lot better of a situation for them. So I was glad. And I guess my point with that too is, one, to convey that to the rest of the board, but also it was really cool that we had members of the team out there. I mean, we had probably 4 or 5 staff members that were out there. It was great, and they were engaged with the crew out there, and so that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I was very pleased that because we had a meeting the week before with Bocce Phil, right when they were done with just staff members, and the project had been going for a number of weeks, and he had a number of senior league folks come and check in on him on an almost daily basis, and he developed a relationship with them. And so that's why he actually suggested, I will have a meeting with everybody. I told them I'll meet with on Monday, and we'll have that conversation. Okay. And so I do appreciate Phil for doing that. And so and then we wanted to do one court because if we get lots and lots of complaints, we might want to consider if we're going to do Pleasant Hill Park. We do have money for that one. But anyways, I think staff is continuing to wet it down, and it will roll faster in the future. But they look beautiful, and they're flat, and they're now square, and the boards are regulation, and so everything's great.
Good deal. Just the soccer season's picking up, and it's going to start up pretty soon. So I'm sure we'll hear the concerns about fields once again that go through, and then just congratulations to everybody whose kids started school today. That was delightful for me to have. Free up some time during the day. I saw Derek's daughter riding her bike back from school today. It was just really neat to see everybody out. Traffic was an absolute nightmare this morning when I had to take my other daughter to Concord to get through there, but it was really, really cool to see everybody. So congrats to freeing up part of your day. That's it. Thank you.
Nice, Bobby. Derek.
Yeah, a couple of things kind of dovetailing with what Bobby said. School's back in session, and so I read through the report. I was really pleased with everything the district had done for the summer camps to accommodate so many kids. Even with some of the challenges we had with the initial sign up, we still got everybody, who needed to be in camp in place. But with school being back in session, I'm also a little bit concerned just with any uptick in kind of graffiti. If we want to, kind of keep a tab on, Oak Park, see if there's any, continued challenges there. With students now coming out of the schools, and so other than that, I was going to be at the summer summer sunset movie, but unfortunately I won't make it. I was going to be Luigi. I hear there's costumes, but I won't be able to make it. Yeah.
Well, you're working on your mustache for a year for this movie, right?
Right. So that's it for me.
I just school started, and yes, traffic is a bear, and our school had a new route of drop off, so everybody was just sort of all in.
Can't change that.
Can't change that on the first day. What's going on? I can just imagine. Anyway, so yes, it's nice to get the kids back in school. Just wanted to comment again that the swim instructors in this past summer were great. My daughter's form is looking good, so definitely looking good. I did want to mention I was a little disappointed on the fall and winter signups. And it sounds like there wasn't a tech issue. There was sort of a mismatch between the catalog and the online, and so it kind of being what it is, I wasn't able to get any September lessons, and so I had to go, unfortunately, to a competitor to get those lessons. But maybe something to think about in terms of a district. If we're going to have these registration issues either from tech or just making sure that things match up, that we don't disenfranchise potential users. I'm a big supporter of the district, and I'm a board member of the district. I want to use district services, but to sort of be forced to go somewhere else, I think it was just a sad.
Was a class you wanted to clear out?
Or it wasn't being offered. So
we didn't have staff for it, so we weren't offering private lessons, only group lessons, because we just didn't have the staff to do that. And
I did a registration. It was really soon.
So I couldn't get the private or the group.
So then the group was gone, but
so I ended up with private lessons somewhere else, but it is what it is. So, but we'll be back in October, so I did get something in October. So we'll be doing that, and hopefully we'll continue her I didn't want to break because she was really getting the hang of it. And so I wanted to keep her practicing through as much of the months as possible. So, but just something for staff to think about is it's a front-facing component of the district registration process. And we just want to make sure that's top of the line and make sure it's smooth. So if I'm having issues, I'm sure others are as well too. So I just want to let the staff know about that. The other thing as well, I just wanted to make a comment about our conversation the prior meeting in terms of just trying to include diversity and inclusion throughout the process rather than at the very end of the process, which was sort of the basis of my comment. And that, you know, I get it, it's hard to do this type of work, and it's hard to outreach because, you know, these are communities that often are disenfranchised or skeptical or just hard to get to. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try, right? It's what we need to do. It's hard work, and everybody realizes that. And so not to say that I'm an expert in any way, and please don't rely on me as the expert, even though I'm the minority in the room. But just a couple of comments on some things that staff can look at. It's like, have we translated our our survey or polling to different languages? You know, Spanish and Chinese are the two top spoken sort of ethnic languages in the area. Not a huge amount, but you know, every little bit counts. We're looking to get a representative sample of the entire community. You know, making sure that we have material available for the community. I think is important because not everybody has English as their first language. And then make sure that we also meet people where they're at. And so a lot of our traditional outreach has been at traditional places. And so I'm asking for, you know, more cards and stuff like that, because I go to some of these places, not that I know huge amounts of community populations, but, you know, we have networks. And so I ran out of the cards pretty quickly, and I'm more than happy to distribute some as well, but I don't know like all, you know, 5,000 Asians in Pleasant Hill, but I'm more than happy to distribute what I certainly can. And then I think the final sort of suggestion as well too is that I'm really impressed that the staff has really worked hard to make internally their work more diverse, both in the people that you've brought on, but also in the work that they do. And so I was hoping that at some point in time, instead of the internal work, that it flips externally, and that the staff become more champions to engage the public. And so that's one of the ways I think, you know, at the moment where people come in and we see the Placer AI data, like, oh, this is a more diverse. I think that's a way to start to engage in this population. And instead of like trying to find them, if we have services that actually attract people, we can certainly use that as a resource to then start asking folks, so this is an event or a thing that you enjoy, would you like more of it? And so I was hoping that the staff could do more and more external work as well too. So those are my 3 suggestions to think about it in terms of the staff. And I think that's it. Sorry, I didn't need to step on the soapbox or anything, but I just wanted to get those out there.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I began to get a little worried about you know, the unagendized nature of some of the things.
Well, I framed it in an ask.
Yes,
so.
I agree. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I was sensitive to that. But
I was too. I was trying to be.
Yeah, okay. I want your voice to be heard, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. Sandy.
It's been a busy few weeks. I got away for a week plus, actually, so that was great. Before that, we were able to attend the library birthday party, which was a nice gathering, also a very diverse gathering. And as you walked in, it was the first 2 things I saw were 2 Rec and Park booths. So Jen was there setting up, and Michelle was there, and you know, they had the surveys, so got the opportunity to talk to people and made sure as they were coming up to get the cool sunglasses and the other little giveaways that we had, to talk to people about have they been able to, do they know about the survey? A lot of them, I'd say 50% of the people that I talked to knew about it. The ones that did not were very interested in following through and taking it, and they fully understood the how to scan it and the whole thing. So had some very nice discussions. It was a nice event, I think, certainly for the library, and they had a lot of things going on inside. But I think the segue to the events was Rec and Park was right there And I think that was helpful just to connect what we're going to be trying to do in that particular area. That's all I have.
Which is what?
Well, the park.
The park.
Oh, the
Yeah,
park.
sure.
Got it.
Yeah, we were there to answer a lot of questions
Got it.
about future
Okay. I
development.
said right when you came in, I thought I was picturing inside the library.
No, right
outside.
Got it.
on the outside. You walked up the
That's
sidewalk
cool.
and it was perfect.
That's cool.
It was great.
That's
all I have.
Okay. Let's see. Well, just piggybacking on that. Now, the Park District, do we pay for the train?
We did. Well, we paid for it. Except it broke down.
Yeah.
And so then he gave us our money back. So it worked for about an hour, I think. And the weight limit was just too much. So it was for it. So we actually didn't end up paying for it. He decided he couldn't take our money at all. So so unfortunately, those who were there at the beginning were able to ride the train, but then we had to shut it down.
Okay. The reason I ask is because I saw some publicity for the event that said the city was going to provide a train.
Oh.
And the Park District wasn't mentioned, so I just
Okay.
wondered whether my understanding was correct.
Yeah. That was what we sponsored for them. That was our contribution.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sensitive to that. As you
Yeah.
can imagine. I attended National Night Out, and it was, I thought, well attended. Certainly the police officers were out in force, and they were very conversant and mingling, and people love the fact that there was food there and lots of booths and things. Jen Voice did a fabulous job of setting up the tent, and as you had mentioned, she has her wrap down. She really has figured out how to approach people. I had the very same reaction for the half hour that I was there with her, that people would come up and they would want to know what our giveaway was, and then Jen would rope them into either learning about a class that we were given that they might be interested in. It's just got them engaged in conversation. She just did a wonderful job. So it was a lot of work. She was, I guess their PA system didn't work, so came across the street quickly, got the Park District's PA system. There was music that that she was able to provide, and or whomever was there, did that.
We're very supportive of the city, so we help each other. So.
Yes. Anyway, it was great collaboration, and I was really proud to be part of the Park District. Just really impressed with Jen and how she is really soliciting a lot of energy and interest in the district in the things that she's doing. So, let's see. I went to Bocce the night before because of the comments that I had received about the condition of the courts, and it was true that the surface material had not been watered down. The markings on the side of the courts hadn't been installed yet. There was and people, especially older women, were having a great deal of difficulty getting the ball even to midcourt. The ball would just, whether you threw it up, it would land in a plop and go nowhere. If you tried to roll it, it would go nowhere. So I was very curious the next day to come back and see what Bocce-Bill was going to do. And he was there. He was watering that stuff down, which really needed to happen. Training staff to know how to take care of it. I mentioned to him that the balls were bouncing off the sideboards at all, and he thought about it. And he said, "You know what? Maybe I didn't bolt them down." He attached them, but he didn't bolt them down, so they didn't have the rigidity that they needed to have in order to really play the game properly. So he fixed that. And I played that night, and we had a really good time. It was. There were very few balls that went the length of the court. It was even with the watering down, but I heard not one complaint from anybody. It was just a new kind of challenge that people were kind of embracing. It was kind of cool.
And the league over here, the balls that hit the back are called a flarity.
Oh, they're called a flarity? Not the old flarity.
Just the mayor's frequency with which he
hits the back wall.
He has his balls removed from the game. Yes, okay. So I think that there was a great deal of communication with staff and the contractor to really solve the problem. And I haven't played since then, so I don't know if the extra watering that's happening is sufficient, but I will certainly,
Yeah, and staff should be doing that every league night, every day. So before we do that and rake it and do all that, but now they're blowing, and on league days, they'll blow it as well as wet it down. So
Yeah,
so
and not just surface wet it, like to keep the dust down, but really,
it
really
needs to,
get it wet.
And so we're really, before we didn't do that much because it wouldn't dry out. So we're, we're very hopeful that this new system we're told is going to help us drain it so that, we can play more often.
I think the courts are they feel very true and all of that. Yeah. There are small cracks in the cement. Might have been because of the heat in which the was poured. And they don't seem to line up with the bolts for the like maybe it was the bolts going into the side that might have cracked it, but it's probably due to heat and not keeping it dry, wet enough. So if you'd have somebody evaluate whether that's going to have any long-term impact on us, for the funds that we spent on this, that would I'd appreciate it. It may not be that there's anything you can do about it, but would like to, before the contractor is complete out of the picture.
The nice thing is that he's actually he's down the street, so he's in Pacheco. So and he tells me, he goes, anything you need, well, I can just run over here. So so that is a good thing.
Well, I don't think we would want to patch it because it would just look, the courts look so gorgeous right now. But if in 5 years from now there's differential or trip hazards or it's starting to crack worse or something, I think it'd be good to think about it right now. That's it. That's all I have. Okay. I hope everybody other than Mario here can make the movie Saturday.
Luigi.
A
little taller than Mario.
Oh, that's true. He's kind of short and small, isn't he? Luigi. Anyway, we've got the movie this Saturday night. It should be a good time. And I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right. Meeting's adjourned at it's like 7:53. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you.